Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rickstar here. I'm just want to make this video to talk about something that's been a pressing matter and the state of Pokemon Unite. I know the game's been out for over a year and there's been many balance and patch updates since its inception. Recently they just added emblems and we just got Dodrio and Mew and Tyranitar, and we have a whole slew of others that are planned to come out later this month. So in my opinion, Pokemon Unite, it's a really good game. It's been growing over the past few months, and one thing that I'm surprised they didn't fix was matchmaking. As you guys may know, they have the different ranks. We go from beginner to expert to great and so on and so forth, but obviously within those ranks there'll be a big skill gap. So I'm just surprised that they queue Ultra 4 and Ultra 5 players and even some Masters players with like experts and vet 1s, and I've always thought that was kind of odd. So I know last season I did make it to Masters again as all the previous seasons, and so I can state that even within those high ranks, it's almost like the skill gap isn't close to mine. And I'm not trying to say that I'm a really good player or anything, but at the end of every game, let's say if we fall on our face very early on and I notice people overextending or farming jungle all game, and I usually go and I'll check the trainer ID, and if you guys go to Pokemon Unite API, you'll be able to see those sorts of things. But what I've been wondering is why am I keep getting expert 4 players on my team? Why am I getting veteran 1 players on my team? Shouldn't I just get Masters if I'm in the 16 to 1800 elo? And should I just get Ultra if I'm in the 1200 elo? But ultimately, even though matchmaking is an issue, I feel like the real issue is actually a lot of the players. So what I mean by that is, I just seen in that earlier clip, there's players that take absurd risks. They'll try to go and drop and score 50 points instead of actually participating in an impactful team fight. And when I say impactful team fight, I'm talking we're all at Regieleki, or we're all at Rayquaza, or we're all trying to defend base, and we have a 4v5 situation because your 5th on your team decided, hey, let me go drop these 50 points on the other side of the map. And they get stopped anyways because usually the opponent's just sitting on base and they're just waiting to launch right on top. So what I think is a lot of players need to break a lot of bad habits, and you need to think about something like this, how can you contribute to your team? What does my team need most from me? I'm such character. What can this character do to help everybody? So if you guys see from my gameplay, I really like using Mr. Mime. I really like using Tyranitar. I feel like those 2 mons, especially in the Thea Sky Ruins map, I feel like they're very impactful. Tyranitar, he can get around the field and let him be known. And Mr. Mime, even after the patch, a lot of people still say it's broken, but it's always been one of my favorite supporters. But after Guard Swap got switched to Power Swap, I have been using Power Swap a lot more often. And for example, the way I'll play a supporter role with Mr. Mime, you'll see me, I'll be everywhere. I jungle the support. So by that I mean when you jungle, you're supposed to be center, farm, go gank a lane, reset. And if you guys notice, I do that. I'll go from bottom lane as Mr. Mime, I see an objective, a home, I go top, and then I'm lending that support that the team needs. Mr. Mime by himself, he would be useless as an example if he's by himself, because think about it, he's a supporter. Who is he supporting? So I feel like everyone just needs to kind of niche down and find what character works for them. I know when the game first launched, I was a bit Crustle main because that's one of my favorites from the Unova region. But over time, I slowly learned other characters. I started learning Blastoise, I started learning Charizard, I started learning Pikachu. And I was able to narrow down that list and be like, hey, you know what? Charizard doesn't work so good for me, but I really like the way Cramorant plays. Stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of players just need to identify who they feel comfortable with and not just pick a character because some YouTuber gives a emblem and item moveset, because what works for them may not necessarily work for you. And the quicker a player realizes that, the better they'll become at this game, you know. It's Pokemon Unite, not Pokemon Infight. So, bad habits like fighting over jungle. If you see someone fighting over jungle in the queue of the lobby when they call Central as like a Gengar, if that Absol calls Central as well, as a Gengar player, you should already know right away that like you called it first, it should be yours, but this Absol is going to contest it. So instead of wasting time in early game just fighting it out over jungle farm, just hop right into lane, you know. Just that way we can keep scaling the levels and whatnot. So I feel like if you're a player who's struggling to find their way in this game and in this new map alone, I feel like there's a strong need for defenders. So in the previous version of Unite, you could say this is Unite 2.0 because it's a new map, but in the old map, Zapdos was the main objective. So we could be winning an entire match, enemy takes last hit on Zap, we lose because everyone can insta score. So with the new Rayquaza buff, all that's been completely eliminated. So say the enemies get the Rayquaza buff, as a defender you can recall and you can hang out on your base, and say you have the opposing Cinderace trying to score. I think the way the shield works is it's a fraction of their HP. So as a Blastoise, you can literally use Surf, damage the Cinderace, and push him off of the base, which will stop him from scoring. And I feel like we just need to see more of that. Some games you can literally win a whole game because you defended bases in certain times where it was crucial. Defenders, they have a lot more HP. They could last in the fight a lot longer. So you can kind of become the master at stuff like that, you know. And you can let your carries, such as like your Greninjas and your Cinderaces, have more mobility over the map because you're holding down the fort, you know. You may not get MVP because the MVP system in this game is kind of broken. It doesn't really show who defended the most or who did this or who did that, but all that'll be fixed with time. So, you know, like I said, just kind of figure it out, find your main, you know. I really love Mamoswine, and this map, Mamoswine, is busted in my opinion. All you gotta do is throw a float stone on him and he goes to town, jungle invade all day. I do know in this game though, the solo queue players, they struggle the most. So the crazy thing about solo queue in this game is there's not a solo queue ladder. As you know, most other MOBAs such as League, they have a solo queue ladder, so you can just hop in, you know, if they need an attacker, you can hop into a queue where they need an attacker, you can hop into a queue where they need a supporter. So you can fill that role already for a team that needs it. And I kind of think that's something this game's lacking, but I mean, I'm confident that they'll end up implementing all those things as the months pass. I mean, I'm already hearing rumors now that there's going to be a pick ban system. So that'll be pretty interesting in this game. But for solo queue, the one thing that kills it the most are AFKs. If you guys don't know what AFK stands for, it means away from keyboard. And that's just when players completely rage out and they just leave the game. Now, I understand not all of us has a perfect internet connection, and that's fine, but countless times have I been in matches where I'll see the Charmander leave base and we'll be in a team fight, and then he'll just be standing around, then he'll go back to base, and then he's just attacking in base. That's trolling completely and absolutely, but in order to negate that, I think this game needs to implement harsher punishments. Before, for reporting a player, there'd be no punishment at all. But now, they actually send us a little message if you guys have ever gotten one. It'll tell you like, XYZ player was idling and they lost 20 points. Now, I know when you lose your points, you gain them back the next day in this game, but I thought they need to implement harsher punishments. just to kind of deter that kind of negative behavior, because it'll be like you trolled for a game, you got reported by 4 people, you can't play for the rest of the day. Like, that would be perfect, because that means by noon, like, all of our matches will be running and gunning with them. Now when it comes to this game, Pokemon Unite in specific, I love solo queue. I play it all the time. I love the feeling of just being able to hop in a game, hop out of a game, just kind of like in and out type of deal, you know, whether I'm on break at work or, you know, I'm getting ready for bed and I want to get an extra grind in. But I don't 5-stack very often. See, 5-stacking requires the entire team, all 5 members, to be completely coordinated. Because at that point, you'll be able to see who makes mistakes more often. There'll be no hiding behind this character didn't do that. You know, everyone's going to be to the forefront. Everyone's going to be judged all the same. So most of the time I do play trio and QO the most. Personally, I love playing duo a lot. See, in duos, that kind of gives me and my lane partner, you know, a mental objective. And our heads will say, hey, you know, I'm Mr. Mime, you're Espeon, you know. Espeon's a special attacker, as most of you know, and Mr. Mime is a supporter. So, as a Mr. Mime as a supporter, I'm going to be more defensive. So I'm going to be able to run in there, take the most damage. I'm going to be able to throw psychics and get stuns. And my Espeon in the back will be kiting with basic attacks and throwing future sights and whatnot. So pretty much, we'd be very aggressive. We'll know when to recall, when to push back and everything. And usually my objective in the game, first starting out, in the first couple minutes, I try to break a goal, or I try to, you know, get a level lead over the opponent. See, unless I'm jungling, personally, I don't really expect a jungler to come and help us gank. So we try to create that gank between the 2 of us in a lane at any given time, you know. If we can break, that's fine. But one thing that I make sure we always do is 10 seconds before the objective, 15 seconds or so, me and my lane partner, we always home based where we can get a full health reset and we head to that objective. Mainly Regieleki. The Regieleki buff is insanely powerful. It's literally Rotom on steroids. Regieleki has a really powerful stun. So what we like to do is we beat Regieleki, I power swap it, it gets that speed increase, and we siege all the way to an enemy base. If the entire team comes on the enemy side to stop that Regieleki from taking their base, we already know between the both of us that, hey, the other team's completely distracted. So we'll go straight down bottom just to contest the next objective. They won't be there. They're partying with Regieleki. They're getting stunned. They're wasting time. So you got to kind of know how to like have a strategy within the strategy. I guess ultimately the point of this video I made today was just to kind of let you guys know that Pokemon Unite is supposed to be a fun game as long as it's played correctly. And, you know, you just kind of learn, like, you know, how you like to play, and you find people to play with you in that manner, or you learn that, hey, I have a big win streak. Oh, I must be doing this really good. I'm really good at this character. Or if your win streak is abysmal and it's like under 50%, then you take a back seat and you say, hey, you know what? Talonflame isn't my character. Let me play Charizard. You know, you may like a long-range flamethrower. You may like the more bulky offensive utility of an all-rounder instead of the squishiness of a speedster. You know, things like that. So pretty much you guys will learn your Pokemon. You guys will learn how to contribute more to your team. I do have a Discord server where me and my team, we're not an official team yet, but we kind of coach and show new players or players that want to work on something how to become better at what they already do. I have a link for that in the description below. But, you know, I just hope everyone got a little piece of something from this video. I know this is the first video of this game topic on this channel. Currently I'm going through rebranding and everything, so you guys will see more content real soon. But I hope everyone liked it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.